JD Vance shamelessly grifting at insane TPUSA event. He knows he's lying. Smoky-eyed sociopath JD Vance is lying to Trump supporters to take over the cult after Trump is gone. Order our new book, join our Substack, shop our merch, and more by clicking here. https://linktr.e/IHIP podcast. JD Vance took the stage at a Turning Point USA event that felt less like a political gathering and more like a fever dream built on outrage, applause lines, and carefully rehearsed dishonesty. What unfolded wasn't a serious policy discussion or an attempt to engage honestly with reality. It was a performance, and Vance knew exactly what he was doing. This was grifting in its purest form, delivered with confidence, volume, and a smirk that suggested he understood the crowd would cheer no matter how detached his claims were from the truth. The atmosphere alone told the story. TPUSA thrives on spectacle, on emotional manipulation, on telling audiences what they want to hear rather than what is real. JD Vance walked into that environment fully aware that facts were optional and accountability non-existent. His words weren't designed to inform. They were crafted to provoke applause, trigger outrage, and reinforce a narrative his audience already believed. Truth wasn't just irrelevant. It was inconvenient. What makes Vance's performance especially egregious is that he is not an outsider or an ignorant figure parroting misinformation out of confusion. He is a Yale-educated senator who knows how government works, understands economic realities, and is fully capable of distinguishing fact from fiction. That's what turns this from ignorance into deceit. He knows he's lying, and he keeps going anyway because the lie pays better than the truth. Throughout the event, Vance leaned heavily into familiar grievances, painting himself as a champion of forgotten Americans while offering no concrete solutions beyond vague anger and recycled talking points. The language was dramatic, almost theatrical, designed to keep the crowd emotionally charged rather than intellectually engaged. Every pause was timed. Every punchline rehearsed. Every claim exaggerated to the point of absurdity. The grift becomes obvious when you look at the contradictions. Vance rails against elites while standing comfortably among donors, influencers, and political operatives who represent the very power structures he pretends to oppose. He attacks institutions he actively benefits from. He condemns corruption while participating in a system fueled by outrage-driven fundraising and ideological loyalty tests. The performance depends on selective memory and a short attention span from the audience. What's particularly striking is how casually falsehoods are delivered. There's no hesitation, no attempt to qualify claims, no acknowledgement of complexity. The confidence is part of the con. When someone speaks boldly enough, loudly enough, and repeatedly enough, some listeners stop questioning whether the content makes sense. Vance exploits that dynamic expertly. He doesn't argue. He asserts. He doesn't explain. He declares. The TPUSA crowd responds exactly as expected. Cheers erupt not because ideas are persuasive, but because they affirm existing beliefs. This isn't debate. It's validation therapy disguised as politics. Vance understands the transactional nature of the moment. He gives them outrage and identity reinforcement. They give him loyalty, attention, and future support. Everyone knows their role, and everyone plays it well. The most troubling aspect is how openly manipulative the rhetoric has become. There's no effort to bridge divides or engage skeptics. The message is exclusionary by design. It frames disagreement as betrayal and criticism as persecution. By doing so, Vance insulates himself from accountability. If he's challenged, it's proof of a conspiracy. If he's corrected, it's evidence of bias. The lie becomes self-sealing. This is where the grift crosses into something darker. When a politician knowingly spreads falsehoods to an audience primed to reject reality, the damage extends beyond a single event. It corrodes trust. It deepens polarization. It turns civic engagement into a loyalty contest rather than a shared pursuit of truth. Vance isn't just misleading his audience. He's training them to distrust anything that contradicts him. There was a time when JD Vance marketed himself as a truth teller, someone willing to speak uncomfortable realities about economic hardship and social decay. That version of Vance has long since disappeared. In his place stands a polished performer who understands that outrage travels faster than honesty and that grievance is easier to sell than solutions. The transformation isn't subtle. It's strategic. At TPUSA, that strategy was on full display. The exaggerations, the half-truths, the outright fabrications were delivered with the assurance of someone who knows there will be no consequences in that room. No fact-checking. No pushback. No follow-up questions. Just applause, viral clips, and the comforting illusion of righteousness. What makes this moment resonate is not just what Vance said, but what it represents. It's a snapshot of a political culture where sincerity is optional and performance is everything. Where saying the quiet part out loud isn't a gaffe, but a branding opportunity. Where knowing you're lying isn't a liability as long as the audience wants the lie. J.D. Vance didn't stumble at TPUSA.
He didn't misspeak.
He didn't get carried away. He executed a plan. He delivered exactly what the crowd came for, and he did it with full awareness that the substance didn't matter. That's the grift. That's the insult. And that's why moments like this deserve scrutiny rather than applause. Because when a politician stands on a stage, lies boldly, and walks away richer in influence for doing so, the real cost isn't measured in donations or clicks. It's measured in how much harder truth becomes to recognize the next time it shows up.